currently on a 2-week tour with Adam Brenneman, the Next Up show, and we're hopping around the country and going to 12 different colleges to document some podcasts, some facility tours. But I had to figure out how to travel with this much gear. I've done some of these before, but I've never done 12 back-to-back, so I'm gonna be breaking down what type of gear I bring. That's a travel lightweight setup. I brought 4 bags total. In my backpack, I have right here, I had my Fuji X100V just with me around my neck a lot of the times if I wanted to snap some quick photos. I brought my DJI Mavic Mini 4. This thing's just great for traveling because it's so small. I brought my A7 IV. This was running the C angle on the podcast. And here are my ND filters, as well as my 70-200. This lens I used on my B or C camera for the podcast. Right here, I have my 16-35, which is actually filming this video now, as well as my A1 Mark II, which goes right here, also filming this video. And then I have a Sony shotgun mic and my 24-70. Up here is where I would keep my SSDs, extra tripod plates, and my ND filters for my drone. And then up here, I would keep my cords and anything I might use to back stuff up. Then I have some camera straps and an extra battery for the Fuji and a lens cloth. In this top pocket is where I keep anything important like my wallet, my earbuds, my media pass, stuff like that. I also would carry my laptop in this, some hard drives to back stuff up as we go. So that's the first bag. And then as my carry-on bag, I brought the Pelican. I would keep my FX3 with the Cineback rig. This is my main camera throughout the day. I have it rigged out with the monitor, Atomos Ninja, V-mount, handles, and this was my main camera for the A setup on the podcast as well as the facility tour. And then I have the Rode Wireless Pro, which are lavalier mics. These would run as backup during the podcast as well as the lav that was on them during the facility tour. I like these because they have internal recording at 32-bit float, which is amazing. Over here I have my 85mm prime, which was usually on my B camera during the podcasts. That 1.4 looks really good. And then I also have my 35mm prime. Up here is where I keep my Ninja, my monitor, Sony battery charger. Right here I have 2 V-mount batteries. I also have the Rode wireless mics. These are the third ones. This was just a backup lav to have in case anything went wrong with my Rodes or we need to mic up more than just 2 people at a time. I had a Prism Lens Effects filter, which I didn't really use, but this thing just kind of stays in my bag if I want to get creative. And then for the actual podcast, I would record from Shure SM7Bs into this Tascam Zoom H6. So that was the main podcast audio recorder. Right here, I keep my Ronin battery for my gimbal, another extra battery for the drone, and another Sony battery charger. And then right here, I would keep my handles for the built-out FX3 rig, as well as a little blower to make sure the sensors are clean. And then up top, right here, I keep my cords for my Cineback rig, the V-mount to Sony battery dummy, as well as a Condor Blue cord to connect the V-mount into the monitor. So then the V-mount can power the battery and the monitor all with just one battery. Some extra sensor cleaners in case I get dirt on my sensor mid-shoot or mid-tour. I obviously want to make sure it's clean before going into the next one. Up here, I also keep some wireless headphones to monitor audio, as well as a bunch of extra AA batteries in case the Zoom runs out of batteries because it takes AA. Here, I keep some USB-C chargers. I bring a bunch of these. Pretty much all my gear charges with USB-C, which is really clutch. And then right here, I would keep Sony batteries that are charged. And I would keep them organized by putting them in the bottom compartment once they are dead. Between the Pelican and the backpack, that's pretty much all the camera gear. I also had my second shooter, Luis. He brought a backpack with his FX3, 24-70, some extra batteries, as well as a tripod. The other 2 bags that I checked was the Pelican 1650, as well as a large rolling case. This puppy is 80 pounds, which is not fun to travel with. I brought a lot of stuff. So in this Pelican 1650, this is how I packed 2 Aperture 300Ds. The lights are right here with their XLR cords, as well as the control panels or boxes are up here. These are stacked. So that's how I fit them in and made sure that they were padded well. I'd keep an extension cord because you never know if your outlet's gonna be close enough to you. Most of these interviews were indoors, so I didn't have to worry too much about any crazy power, but a lot of the times I did have to bring out the extension cord. These cords right here are my XLR cords for my podcast mics. These would connect from the Shure SM7Bs into the Tascam recorder. Right here, I keep the clamps for the C-stands for the power banks. And then up here in this slot, this is where I keep the Shure SM7Bs, which do all the high quality podcast mic recording. And then in this little extra space right here, I fit the remaining parts of my Ronin just because they were little and they could fit, and I had a little room. The last case, tripods, C-stands, mic stands, and soft boxes and gaff tape. I had one last carry-on size bag for my clothing, and I fit the top of my gimbal head in that clothing bag as well. So I was super maxed out on space. Between me and my second shooter, we ended up having a backpack for each of us, 3 checked bags, and my Pelican small roller for carry-on. So it was a lot. So this is probably gonna be my go-to travel setup for something with a little more production like this. I wanted to give you guys a behind the scenes because I had to figure this out for this job, given that I've never traveled with these big old 300Ds and that much audio equipment for anything other than like a 1 or 2 day shoot before. This one being 12 days, a lot more moving parts. So had to consolidate and find the best setup. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you have any questions.